Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Marvel Rewind. My name is Gio, and I am joined by Mr. Keith Barnes. After a long day of work, time to unwind with some Marvel Rewind. Keith, how are you, sir?
Doing very well, my friend. Uh, Ready to talk some Hawkeye stuff. Obviously, we're talking about episode 3. Marvel dropped the first two. I think is it 7 total? I think is that what I heard. I think it's
Oh,
7.
six.
Oh, it's 6. Oh, okay, 6. Okay. So yeah, short series. I think Falcon Winter Soldier was also 6. So, but this one was the shortest one. But they're all seeming to be like 35. Well, this one's was 37 minutes, I think, or something like that. Or maybe it was in the short end. I know that because the other two were like 50 something. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's looking
Yeah.
good. Looking good
So
so
we're
far.
gonna talk about the third episode titled Echoes.
Yes.
You and I weren't on Marvel Rewind last week. You weren't, right?
Oh, it was not. No. No.
Okay, so let me get your quick thoughts on the series so far, and you can lead up to your thoughts on this episode. What'd you think?
Really quick, Rachel. Hello. Thank you for saying hello. Jake, my boy, what's happening, my brother? Um, let's see. So the first two I really enjoyed. Let me just real quick. Ever since they announced this Hawkeye series, you guys, anybody watching, if anybody cares, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I've been super excited about this. I've been talking about for the longest time. This comic, I held it up on Apocalypse Now last night, but Hawkeye, My Life is a Weapon, because I knew a lot of this series would probably be based on this, or I was expecting it to anyway. Um, and I'll tell you right, it definitely is. So I highly recommend you reading this because there is a lot that they draw from this series here, which is really good. But so yeah, so I knew I was expecting just watching trailers. There's a lot of stuff that I recognized from this, and so I kind of went into it with a little bit of expectation, just because this is such. I mean, this is a really good series. If you're interested in the cool stuff about Hawkeye, it says in here, this is about. Hold on, let me just draw it up. This is about what Hawkeye does when he's not being an Avenger. And so I kind of wish they would have used that tagline in this series, because I thought that was really funny. But yeah, so I did. Like I kind of had some expectations going into it, and they were certainly met for me. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed Kate Bishop's character, Haley Steinfeld, perfect casting as Kate Bishop, and yeah, I thought it was really good. They're setting up a lot of stuff. There's I'm not familiar with I'll say this leading into this episode. I'm not familiar with the character of Echo, but I am waiting to see. There's obviously it's another series where there's some windows or doors or whatever you want to call it are being opened. We got to see where everything leads.
Sure.
And what we're just talking about, it being a short series. I hope they get there. The episodes are a little bit longer than some of the other series, but the first two, I thought the action was really good. I think, like I said, Haley Steinfeld's very funny. Clint seems to be really stressed. You can tell, like, they're tying in obviously the stuff from Endgame / Infinity War. He's trying to spend some time with his family that he hasn't seen, or he lost for 5 years, and so he's trying to make up for that. And so I think all that is great. Kate Bishop, we're obviously learning more about her. She's a spoiled rich kid, but she's well trained. She's
Right.
inspired by what she saw from Hawkeye in 2012. I will admit, and I know I'm kind of rambling here. I'm going to wrap this up here, but
It's okay.
When it started, I saw the date, 2012, and I kind of did go, okay, we're going back to the Chitauri invasion again. Like they keep kind of it's almost to the point where like all the villains in the movies and stuff are like disgruntled Stark. That they're like tied to Tony Stark somehow. It seems like there's a lot of kind of going back to the Chitauri invasion again. It gets referenced a lot, but it is kind of the linchpin of this whole thing. So it makes sense, and obviously it makes sense that Kate Bishop seeing Hawkeye do what he did during that, and she would be inspired by that. It makes sense that as the episode went on, I was more okay with it. But yeah, I think it's really good. I totally forgot that Vera Farmiga was in it, playing her mom. So that was cool. I went, oh, that's right. I totally did not remember that she was in this. So I enjoy the first two a lot.
I'm kind of on the opposite end in regards to the first two episodes, and I'm glad we can at least talk about this because you did remind me of some great moments in those first two episodes.
Right.
I thought it was neat to get a different angle, a different perspective of the New York battle.
Yeah.
Like one of the cool things about Avengers Endgame is that we saw the Ancient One in the battle. With Spider-Man Homecoming, we kind of saw the aftermath of the New York battle. With this one, we're seeing, just some little girl and her family, and all of a sudden, you see shadows in the window and whatnot. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yes.
But I just felt like with the first two episodes, I wanted more of Hawkeye, and what we did get of Hawkeye, it was just like, okay, that's it, like the whole jousting, or not the jousting, but the little role playing thing that he did in the woods and whatnot. Like, I get it; it served a purpose at the end with the.
Oh, I thought that was hilarious.
The character, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, for me, it wasn't really, it didn't really hit with me.
Okay.
Well,
I will say
you feel differently about that.
Well, I thought it was very funny. I genuinely did. I thought it's a funny thing that Hawkeye had to, kind of a silly thing he had to do trying to get his suit back. Part of it is, and I posted on Facebook because I was so excited by it. There's a comedian named Clayton English. If you go, he may have been on Wild 'N Out, Nick Cannon's show. Not really, but he is on. There's this podcast and this comedy YouTube channel and stuff. It's called the 85 South Show. And so he's a regular on that. He's really, really, really funny. And so he plays that guy, the suit, he is one of his Hawkeye's neighbors in this book. So I thought it was funny that he popped up. That's a big part of why I did enjoy it. But I thought it was very funny. It's just like he's got to do this LARP thing, and those people take that really serious. So,
oh yeah.
I thought, okay, he's actually got to go through the whole thing and do all the stuff. And of course, because he's this skilled assassin, he's just walking through and kind of just with one hand behind his back, just defeating all these people in this made up scenario, which is I thought it was really funny. But what, I get what you're saying. Like you kind of want a little more from Clint himself, right? So far.
And that's what this episode gave us, in my opinion.
Yes. No, I agree. You're absolutely right.
It finally felt like the him being away from his family and then adding the layer of not being able to hear was the first time in a while where I felt like, oh man, like Clint is really struggling to. It's one thing to not be there for your family, but to not to be able to communicate, and there was so many moments of that in this episode between Kate Bishop and Clint Barton. For me, episode 3 was a complete 180. I went from, okay, like I'm not really feeling this show, I'll watch it and whatnot. If this episode was not as good as it turned out to be, I would have honestly just said, you know what, that's it. I'll binge it, at the end or whatnot. But
okay,
for myself, this episode, wow, like from beginning to end, like I was like, okay, this is what I want. And I mean, we could talk about the action, the chase sequence, and the car and the camera work. Hawkeye, Clint finally uses his bow and arrow.
Sure.
And the whole how his hearing is failing him.
Right.
Um,
Which makes
so
sense.
obviously, I'm a lot more higher on this episode than I was the first two.
Right.
How about yourself?
I agree. I think it's right on par. Well, the hearing, like, it makes sense, right? Like, he's spent the last decade at least. This is just what we've seen, going beyond obviously the character's previous work working for Shield. But I mean, he spent his probably a whole adult life with getting explosions and being in all kinds of fights, and he's been in space, and so it makes sense that he's lost his hearing, which I found that very interesting. And I will say really quick, because this is going to lead to a point I'm about to make. This is very funny. Vapion, this is very funny. Very funny. That makes it's a MASH reference. I don't know if you're familiar with any of that, but yeah, he played a character called Hawkeye in MASH. Both the characters. Oh, sorry. Let me take it off. Sorry. Hide there. Okay. Well, at least in this, both the characters, Kate and Clint, are both Hawkeye. Like, because a lot of this is set after post him being Ronin, and she took over as Hawkeye while he was being Ronin. Obviously, that didn't happen on the series in the MCU, but so you're gonna get. It's kind of. I feel like it's gonna be a split, right? So I know what you mean. Like, you're waiting for Clint to get the bow and arrow, which is what we've known him for. But I'm looking forward to seeing him do, because like he uses a bunch of other things as weapons as well, right down to, I know at one point in the book here, like he kind of like what's his name, Bullseye, where he can fling a playing card at somebody and take him out. Like I kind of want to see more of that stuff. But yeah, you're absolutely right that this one, that was such a tragic moment. Like when he's talking to his son on the phone, he can't hear him at all, and she's got to write down really quick all the stuff his son is saying to him, and he's trying to figure out whatever is going on, which he doesn't have to do. He doesn't have to. That's the thing. I'm watching this. I'm like, he doesn't have to do any of this. He could literally leave at any point and go home. But obviously he's trying to cover up his tracks with the Ronin thing. I do find it interesting that he hasn't told anyone. It seems like no one, I guess, except for his wife. Shout out to Linda Cardellini. I'm glad she popped up in this series as Mrs. Hawkeye. But it's interesting. No one knows that he's Ronin at all, outside of the Avengers and his wife.
And the Watcher.
And yes, and the Watcher. So, and I'm waiting for that moment when someone finds out. I did like how when he was captured by, at the end of the last episode, he was captured by the Tracksuit Mafia, who are in this book, and they definitely are always calling everyone bro, which is really funny. But yeah, he tells Echo that, and her
Echo
tells her that Ronin is dead and that Black Widow killed him.
Which in a sense,
it's kind of I thought
right?
That kind of it makes sense.
Back to Endgame, you can look at it and be like, yeah, it was Natasha, Black Widow,
that got him to stop.
Yeah, got him to stop and put an end to that, and gave him hope. What's that famous meme where they go, don't give me hope,
right.
So in a way, he's not lying.
Yeah, I thought that was great writing, and it's a great callback to that moment. So well done. So the Black Widow stuff, and like I actually just watched it on Disney Plus, maybe like a couple weeks ago. So it's interesting how much like this is going to tie in as going forward. How much of the Black Widow stuff and the effects of her death and stuff is going to tie in. Fold into
you
this
wait
series.
till Yelena shows up.
Right. Right. Which I thought that she was going to be. It was going to be her. Like when they were showing her, she wants him alive, and they cut to the room and they just show the back of her head. And I thought that's going to be her for a second at the end of the last episode. But, but yeah, what did you think of Echo? What do you think about her backstory? You got a little background on her to start this episode.
Yeah, I thought that was done well.
Me too.
Because I was like, I don't know the Echo character, so the person at the end, I was like, oh, who's that? And then we find out it's Echo. And first off, there's something about that dialogue exchange where she's like, you rely too much on technology,
Yeah.
and you need to learn how to do this because at some point Hawkeye will probably go deaf, right? I mean, doesn't he do that in the comics? Doesn't he go deaf, completely deaf?
Yes, I think I want to say maybe oh no, he's blind. And I think in Old Man Logan, I know he's blind.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there was maybe a storyline where he is deaf too. I think so.
Right. But in this one, I just after her backstory, we got to see her do a little bit of action, and she was a badass going toe to toe with Hawkeye, of course, until Hawkeye got his arrows, and then that kind of changed things.
Right.
Real quick about the tracksuit gang, and maybe they're like this in the comics. Again, you'll have to fill me in.
Are they real goofy and silly like that?
They're worse than the Ultron bots. At least the Ultron bots didn't talk, and they just straight up like murked, or they tried to murk.
Yes.
The tracksuit mafia, like at first, it's like okay, they got some personality to them. After a while, it's just like
I know what you mean.
There was one moment where Kate Bishop is giving one of the guys advice,
relationship
relationship advice, which was cute, but I'm just like, okay, you guys are supposed to be threatening, right, or something like that, or the bad guys, and like I take none of you seriously at
I know.
all. Like,
I do agree with that. That is from the straight out of the book, though. I will say.
Oh, so they are like that.
They're idiots, just like that. They're just a bunch of goofballs. They are tough to deal with. They're a mafia. So they do, but yeah, they are a bunch of just. He says it on the show. He's like, or when he tells his wife, it's trap mafia, and she's like, "Oh, those idiots." He's like, "Yeah, yeah." So, but I see what you're saying. I do kind of agree. It's like you can make him a little bit more menacing than that, but I don't know.
Hey, side note, do you think Martin Scorsese would enjoy this series? Mafia,
I don't know.
whatnot.
You're right. Yeah. I don't know.
Anyways,
maybe.
Hey, how about that chase sequence with the arrows and all of that, and driving through the city? What was your takeaway from that?
I love that because I hate to keep saying this, but again, that is straight out of the book series. Except they actually take the car. That car, yeah, it's the exact same. The car is exactly the same, 1970 Challenger, same paint scheme and everything. So I thought it was really cool. I perked up when I saw it. I was like, oh, they're doing it. Although I think it was maybe in one of the trailers. I can't remember, but yes, that was really cool. And it's cool because like in this, he's actually going to take it. He's like, all right, Kate, I'm finally going to label all these arrows, like because he's got a bunch of arrows. There's a bunch of them he doesn't use very often,
right?
So he doesn't know what they do. And so she's looking at one of them like it's a net arrow, like he pops out, a big net pops out. She's like, what is this? Like what you got, a boomerang arrow? The plunger arrow is actually in here.
Plunger arrow, the one with the purple goo on it,
the
or
goo,
something.
Yep, yeah, the acid arrows, which is in here. So they get into this car chase, and it's set up. It's a different setup why it happens, but it's kind of like the Italian Job because they're getting chased. Tracksuit Mafia is chasing with a bunch of Mini Coopers, which is pretty funny. But yeah, she's got to fire the arrow. She's like, I don't know what these do. I don't know which one is which. So they just got to fire which one and see what it does. So that was pretty cool that they did that on here. I thought it was pretty funny. It was really cool. It was a cool scene. It's probably we have a lot of similar, kind of a similar scene in Falcon and Winter Soldier where they looked like that truck chase. They had that fight on the truck. I think it was maybe the second episode. Sort of a similar thing where it's fully movie quality chase scene. Like you can see they're putting a lot of budget into the show. It definitely aligns to that scene. I thought it was very well done. It was something that you would see if this was a movie, it would be straight out of that. It was really good.
Yeah, I was impressed by the camera technique that they were using, where it shows them, and
Yeah,
then the camera doesn't cut or anything. It just turns
right.
around, shows them, and then it turns back around, shows them,
Yes.
and that was pretty cool. And man, how about that? Man, we thought Hawkeye shooting Ant-Man while riding an arrow was
I
cool.
thought that.
Did you see the Pym
Yeah.
arrow?
I was watching this late last night, or I started it last night. I finished it today, and I went, oh, like real loud. That was hilarious. Like, what a funny. So there's just a giant arrow. I'm assuming that was the George Washington Bridge in New York. I don't know. Just a giant arrow in the middle of GW Bridge here. That was hilarious. I was wondering, you saw the Pym thing on the arrow, and I was like, oh, what is that going to be? Because he just told her, like, just shoot up.
But it
like,
was
what?
blue, and
Yeah,
the
right.
blue ones, they
right.
expand. Yeah.
Exactly. So that was hilarious. I thought it was really funny.
Yeah. It was pretty cool actually to see both of them draw their arrows, and they're coming, and I thought they looked pretty badass together, with their arrows.
Exactly.
Now, at some point, this is prior to the chase, or it might have been right after, they allude to somebody else higher
Right.
up.
Yeah.
Who are they talking about?
Well, there's a lot of speculation. Jake here, certainly. I'm assuming this is who he's talking about, but a lot of speculation that Kingpin is going to be in the series because he is in the book. He's one of the people at this underground auction trying to buy the stuff. It's a different thing they're trying to buy in the book, but yeah. So it's a lot of speculation about Kingpin. I don't know. Or maybe, I mean, could it be Louise Dreyfus? Could be her character.
Val?
Yeah. Or could be Yelena. I don't know. Although I think he said he. I think so.
Yeah, I thought I heard he.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't want to get into people expecting Kingpin to show up in this.
D'Onofrio has been very active on social media.
That's what I've heard. Right.
This series, but we'll wait and see. These next 3 episodes, there could be some major characters making an appearance.
Because if let's just for a second play if he shows up as Kingpin, and okay, you don't see that last comment right there, but oh yeah, he did say uncle. That's right, yeah, his uncle. But okay, Kingpin is Echo's stepfather. I'm like, okay, I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay, well, if he shows up, and possibly Charlie Cox showing up in Spider-Man Spider-Man
No Way Home.
No Way Home. Yeah, sorry.
That one Home movie.
Yeah. Home. Yeah, Spider-Man Home. Whatever it is. Spider-Man Home 3. Yeah, when both those guys show up, that's interesting. I don't know if it's. Well, it is the same universe, I guess. Yeah. So, if both those guys are around, I don't know. That's interesting. You get Daredevil and Spider-Man. You get Kingpin here in the Hawkeye series.
Oh, it's long overdue.
I would agree for both those. Yeah. If anyone's going to hold over from the Marvel Netflix series, it should be those two. I mean, I enjoyed everybody else. I loved Mike. I forgot his name. Luke Cage. But those
I know
two,
you're talking about. Yeah, Mike. I forgot his last name, but yeah.
He
would be the other one that I really want to show up.
Right. But I think there is a chance. It would be the first. I'm talking about Kingpin here. It's a chance, obviously, and with if Kingpin is Echo's stepfather, I mean, come on, that seems like how could it be anyone else? But I don't know. I don't want to.
Watch again. There he is.
Mike Coulter. Hey, Gordon Post, you're the best. Oh my gosh, thank you. Yes, Gordon. Mike Coulter. He's from South Carolina. I should know. But yeah, man. I don't want to get my hopes too high. I don't want anybody to get their hopes too high because we know how this has gone for all these series in the
Remember
past.
WandaVision? Yeah, Reed
Exactly.
Richards, the Astro,
right?
or the aerospace engineer. Remember that?
Magneto, Magneto,
Magneto, Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think who was there one for Falcon and Winter Soldier who we thought also people thought Black Panther might show up in that.
Something about the Power Broker or something. Remember?
Right. Yeah, Power Broker. Who was that going to be? Yeah. So let's just everyone, if you're watching this on replay, slow down. Let's just see what happens. But could be Kingpin. Could be. So
one big standout for me was more than the previous 2 episodes was Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop.
yes,
I thought out of the 3 episodes, she was by far the best in this one right here. I mean, you just think about that where, she's trying to communicate with Hawkeye with his son on the phone, Nathaniel. Right? Nathaniel?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the look on her face, of just feeling, just sad for Clint,
right.
And then their whole how their dynamic changed when he lost his ear aid, his hearing aid.
Yeah.
And they were communicating, and then she would say something, and then Hawkeye would say something the same thing, and she's just like, I just said that,
Yes. Yeah.
And let me just take a moment. Haley Steinfeld, is she wearing eye contacts? There was something about her eyes in this episode. I was just
okay.
Yeah, I was just
listen,
like, wow.
We are not what's the word? I don't know. All respect in the world, okay, but she's very lovely. I will say that she's a lovely girl, young woman. But yeah, that's the eye thing. I don't know. I don't know. I have to watch it again. I don't know.
Yeah, but anyways, like I thought her as Kate Bishop in this episode was just like, yes, finally. The previous 2, I was like, okay, but this one right here, like, now I'm invested into the 2 of them and how whatever happens in these next 3 episodes,
right?
Yeah,
I agree.
And then of course we got to talk about someone on social media was like, wow, like these young kids like to make fun of these superheroes / Avengers. You had Yelena making fun of Natasha's pose, and you had Kate Bishop criticizing Hawkeye's costume and whatnot, saying, you need to like do
rebrand
something, And did you notice her drawing?
She drew the old comics, the old 60s, I guess, whenever Hawkeye first appeared.
Out of the comic,
yeah, with the goofy things. She says wings like a hawk, which had never occurred to me. Is that what that's supposed to be on his head? Like wings, I guess. And the 8, and then she's like, and an H, the H for Hawkeye, like he wouldn't know what the big dumb H on his head is for. But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. And of course, he was just like, no, that's not happening.
They do, Marvel does a fairly good job at, paying homage to, the comics and the costumes, whether it's a drawing of Hawkeye or Richard E. Grant as classic Loki.
Yeah, right.
Or Chris Evans, Steve Rogers putting on the original Captain America.
The original cap suit, when he was being on stage doing the
even the first time we see Thor on screen, he has the helmet with the wings.
The helmet.
And then they do it again. Right. They do it again in Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
That's something that, regardless of how you feel about these movies and whatnot and the comic accuracy, those are moments that longtime comic fans more than anybody else will understand and will laugh. And enjoy on another
Well,
level.
there's a moment I think in is it oh no, I think it's Avengers Endgame. It's kind of blurring where when they go back to the Shield place in the 70s and you see the old Ant-Man helmet. I think it's in there.
Yeah,
Right? Was that in
good
game? Okay.
call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see the old Ant-Man helmet that Hank Pym wore back in the day. So yeah, you're exactly right. You're exactly right.
And one small detail that we touched on, but I don't want to overlook the fact that Pym made arrows for Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
Is Pym now sharing his technology based on powers of certain characters?
I thought about that exact same thing because Pym obviously he was very anti Stark
Sure.
and seemingly anti Avengers too. He was kind of I know Paul Rudd was like, let's call the Avengers. He's like, no, you kidding me? No, I'm not I'm not working with them. But yeah, at this point, I guess so. Or it could be a situation where maybe Paul Rudd's gone rogue again and is sharing Pym's technology like he did, in Captain America, evidently. But no, maybe yeah. If he's helping out, that was with Stark being gone. Kind of needs somebody else to help with the weaponry, and he'd be the guy. Even though I guess with everything that's happened with Thanos and everything, he's probably kind of turned around on that and willing to help out the Avengers more than he was prior to his wife coming back. So, yeah, maybe he's more willing to help if it helps, keep people safe. It'll help out Hawkeye. Arrow
Yeah,
guy
Gordon in
as
the
a
chat, he was at Tony's funeral.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
And
he knew his
you got
father.
a point, like Stark is no longer there to supply, weaponize, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Pym now.
Sure. Because the only the only other person that we know of that we know is Justin Hammer. You know how that probably go. It wouldn't be, so
Who we will see again in Armor Wars, which I'm excited about.
Yes, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So yeah.
So the episode ends on kind of a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to find out more information about the tracksuit gang, and specifically, who is it?
I can't remember the guy's name. Yeah,
Starts with the K. Yeah.
Yes, the hot guy, as she called him.
Yeah. They get interrupted, and Clint is held at sword point by Kate Bishop's soon-to-be stepfather, the shady guy who's clearly hiding some secrets.
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. Jack Duquesne. Oh, thank you, Vapion. Kazi. Yes, Vapion with the coming through also. Gordon, yeah, Gordon's on it as well. Thank you guys. Yeah, Duquesne. Now in the book, he actually is the one that trains Hawkeye.
Really?
So I'm curious. Yeah. So I'm curious if that's where they're gonna go with this.
Like they know each other,
right? If he finds out that it's it, well, he shows up obviously with the sword. He's the swordsman in the comics. If anybody knows, he plays a character called the Swordsman. And like I said, yeah, he's the one that trained Hawkeye. He is it's the first episode we see him. He's trying to buy Hawkeye's Ronin sword,
right?
Which that wasn't the sword he had in this, was it? I don't think it was.
It looks similar, but
was it? I couldn't tell. I can't remember. But yeah, like you said, he's definitely up to something. Clearly, it could just be that he's behind. I don't know if he's related to this tracksuit situation going on. Obviously, we're trying to still figure out, because there's the murder mystery part of it where we're trying to figure out who killed his uncle.
Right.
If it was him, it was probably him. But I'm not fully trusting her mother either, to be honest. Vera Farmiga.
She seems a little too okay with all the coincidences, the suspicion, the sketchiness, and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I think Vera Farmiga's character is probably the most least interesting one so far. That
Okay.
could
Yeah,
change.
I can see that. Sure.
Maybe we just haven't seen enough of her, or every time we do, she's either arguing with Kate Bishop
Right.
or just being a kind of a yes person to dude
Right. Duquesne, whatever his name is, Jack. She calls him Jack. Whatever.
Jack.
I think
Yeah.
the comic called him Jacques or something. The comic, whatever. But he's a French guy. But okay, Gordon Post. Thank you. Glad you pointed this out because this is weird. Why is that's a weird retractable sword? It's a full sword, but it just retracts into this small handle. That's an odd.
It's like a
I wonder
lightsaber.
why. That's so odd. Why are they? Because it's a regular sword with a solid metal blade, and it goes into this small handle. I thought that was a weird design thing to do with that sword. I don't know, but I don't recall if it was retractable in Endgame. Gordon, I don't remember. I know he put it in his in the people have the back sword holder thingy like Deadpool, a sheath. Yes, sorry, a sheath. So I don't recall it being retractable, but whatever. I don't know. Weird design.
So, where does the next episode go from here?
Oof. I do not know.
You're the one who read the book. Come on.
Yeah. Well, this is a different. Like I said, he is the guy that trained Hawkeye in the book. Kate actually winds up. Well, there's a moment where the guy Jack Duquesne captures him, and Kate comes to rescue him. He does a similar thing. They did it in reverse in this one, where he shoots the arrow and shoots her little handcuffs out of.
Right.
She did that for him in the book, where Duquesne had her captured. Had Hawkeye captured. Clint captured.
That was a cool shot, by the way.
It was right.
Grazed the ear.
Yeah.
And just like that's Hawkeye right there.
Yeah, exactly. And I do agree with you. I do want to see more of Clint. Well, both of them doing some cool archery stuff because it's a cool. I don't know how. I think it's a cool weapon for comic book characters. It's a cool weapon to see done. Obviously, for several years, we got the Green Arrow on TV, which it's cool. It just looks cool. I don't know how practical it would be in real life trying to battle with people and you just got a bow and arrow. But it looks cool in the TV and in the movie. So I think archery is fascinating. I do like one thing to jump back to the first episode. I know we got to wrap up in a second, but when she's trying to shoot that bell tower and how like you see her, it slows down, everything you see, she takes the deep breath, the snow that's falling all slows down, everything kind of slows down around her, and she kind of, you see that focus that I get you clearly have to have for years of archery training. I thought that was cool. I would like to see more of that between the two of them firing the arrows because I do like that stuff. But yeah, I don't know where it's gonna go. I know there's some reveals from some people in Kate's past that pop up. I don't want to actually spoil that happened in the book that I think may happen in this series as well. So I don't know. It's interesting. I'm curious. There's obviously going to be a fight. There must be between either Hawkeye and this guy, or maybe Kate will fight him again. I do like you said, you mentioned it. We're seeing more of her using her actual skills in this episode, so might get this is going to open up with some kind of fight scene. It's got to. I mean, unless for some reason, I don't know, she's able to talk him out of it. Because he didn't see her, he just saw Hawkeye creeping around his house,
right?
His fiance's house. So
maybe she goes into hiding and whatnot.
Yeah.
Does Yelena show up in this next episode?
Oh, yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, when will we see her? I don't know that we'll see her probably till the end, to be honest.
You think so?
Like the final episode. It's going to be one of those things. Yeah, I don't know that she'll tie in as much. Because I know a lot of people thought maybe she's going to be the antagonist. Like, it's going to be about her versus Hawkeye. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case. I think it'll be one of those things where it may be one of those things where they are gonna probably have some kind of conflict, and then maybe she'll team up to help whatever's going on at the end, or I don't know.
What's more likely? Yelena throwing hands with Hawkeye or Yelena throwing hands with Kate Bishop?
With Kate, ooh.
If you only had to pick one, which one would you rather see?
Well, I would say Hawkeye, Clint Hawkeye, because
Clint, yeah.
she would murder Kate Bishop and think nothing of it. So, I think it would more likely be Hawkeye. Hawkeye can actually deal with her being a former Black Widow. Kate would,
and plus,
skilled as she is, she wouldn't stand a chance.
That whole conversation regarding Natasha.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's a conversation fans are waiting to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And because for him to have to tell that story of what actually happened, you saw his reaction in Endgame when they were on the lake there. He's yelling at Thor. He's yelling at Thor about what happens. Like, for him to have to explain that to her. I wonder if he even knows about her. I don't know. It doesn't seem like something that Natasha probably shared with anyone, that she had a family, even though they were not real. But
right,
I don't know. So, but I can't wait for that.
Yeah, it makes me think about like how Yelena's relationship with Val could change after this once she learns about the truth.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot more than just what's going on. There's a lot more stakes here, and it's interesting to see. I keep thinking about Wilson Fisk showing up, Kingpin.
I know. I know, right?
and will he kill somebody by the end of this episode?
Fisk?
Yeah, because this would be his MCU debut, right? Officially. I mean, Netflix has kind of said, like the Battle of New York or whatever, the incident, whatever the hell they called it back then. But this is the first time that the MCU is actually implementing some of the Netflix universe. We'll see, man. It's getting exciting. I'm definitely more excited to see next week's episode than my excitement going into this episode. So that's worth something. This show is on the right track, Keith.
Sure.
Man, I think you have to be on every one of these episodes, even if we have to start this late, man, because you bring stuff for somebody who's read the book and can bring in an informative kind of approach and to this conversation. So I do appreciate you being here and talking. It's been fun. And to everyone in the chat, thank you so much. Gordon,
yes,
Vapion, MJ, when y'all doing a No Way Home prediction vid, man? Come to Fandom United, okay? I'm doing No Way Home predictions every week. But I would imagine
absolutely.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got my stupid things on delay. I'm not saying. I totally agree. Absolutely.
No, we should definitely do video soon. But to everyone who showed up, Artie Films, Samori, Rachel, Jake, I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much. Leave your thoughts like you have been on Hawkeye. What do you want to see next? And we will be back next week for episode 4. I'm sure there will be some surprises, and it might be us. It might be the other boys. Come back next week, find out. Until then, you guys have a good night, and we'll see you next week for Marvel Rewind. Take care.